All right, so this is an issue that going into November, whether people know it or not, and going into the holidays or whatever, a lot of people may not know that just check on your people and just make sure that your people's taken care of. But I want to shine a light on something that also happens, but not often spoken on in the gay community. And a lot of people don't understand or may be aware that domestic violence, whether it's physical or mental, that domestic violence does exist within the gay community as well. And even though, like I said, even though a lot of people don't speak on it, does not mean that it's not there. And so I mention this because of the fact that it's serious. And as a person who that toxic relationships happens with straight and with any relationship. And so without going too deep, I I will say that in the last several years, it's just like dealing with a lot, like basically learning myself and learning what it is that I wanted and what I needed, not only from myself but also from a standpoint of relationships too. And I just really had to just dove deep within me to rebuild and to repair a lot of those things that I had to fix. I will say that I was a broken person, and I was a person that resorted, that turned to other things to make me feel better about myself, whether it's whatever the situation is that brought me to this point, uh, at a point of recovery, at a point of bettering myself, and fighting to have better for myself. And so I can say that when you don't love yourself, let me say this: when you don't love yourself, you're gonna allow any treatment and anything to come at you, and you're gonna put up with a lot of different things. And I really battled or struggled with even making this video, but I'm going to, and that's why I always put basis on self love. And when you come to that point to where you have no other choice but to love yourself. So for what seems like almost my entire life, thinking that it happiness and that love existed on the outside. And so as a person, as I've shared in some of my other videos of just with the trauma and with the abuse and with all of those things, that on this journey of healing, that there's going to be many different things about you, about self, that's going to be pointed out, that it's up to you to fix. And I walk away from any situation where, with the awareness and the understanding that my issues are my issues. The other person's issue is their issues. And we can't rely on other people to fix us. I'm going to say that again. You can't rely on other people to fix you. Same way that you can't make anyone else happy. It is not your job to attempt to make anyone else happy. It's impossible. And not coming from any other standpoint or other than the realization that that is not your job. That is nobody's job to make somebody else happy. When you go into a relationship, you must, talking about myself, the next relationship that I enter, I now know some of the conversation is going to be had. And first and foremost, communication, bar none, is going to be one of the first things on the table. Because if you don't have communication, you can just fail it. See what I'm saying? And then I gained the understanding that whatever drove you or drove that attachment, if that's not continually fueled, then that is what causes people. So if you come together based off of sex, right? And if that level or to that extent it's not continued, then it's not going to last. Whatever the situation may be or whatever. And so I just found myself in a constant battle and a constant war. So as you healing, also I find that when you're in a long-term relationship, that sometimes we lose, or we expect people to be in the same place that they once were. And if you're on this journey of healing and bettering yourself, then you'll understand fully what it is that I'm saying. And so I just found myself losing touch with self, and I had to get back to me, and I just discovered just how much of a lack of self confidence and self love that resided within me, and I had to get back to learning how to love me by understanding what it was that I was bringing to the table, and gaining that awareness, and I'm gaining the understanding that I can love me today. You know, that I'm not the same person 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so, and I have the right to bask in that, and to understand that, and to grow and to develop. So if you're in an environment that does not encourage you to grow and to develop, then you must remove yourself from that situation, because you owe it to yourself to do that. As human beings, we're placed here to grow, to develop, and to advance. That's just life, you know what I mean? And so, not and I say that statement. I make that statement not out of a place of judgment or a place of hatred, whatever the situation may be. And so we have to get out of this, especially if there's other issues that may have taken place, or other things that may have happened in the process of all of that. And so you have to, if there's issues and if there's harms that's done and that's not spoken of, they don't go away, and they don't fix themselves. And what's even worse is if there's no conversation to fix that, then it just has a way to just eat at what's on the inside of what's happening. But first of all, let me go back to the emotions. And I think this is essential, because so many people get into relationships thinking or feeling or expecting that other person to make them feel good, or to make them happy, or holding the power to make them feel better. And not only is that not healthy, and that's toxic, it's not right, because it's impossible to make anybody happy at all times. Along with the fact that it's not healthy and it's not right when there's a lack of communication. So I'm gonna end this video here, but there's gonna be other parts of the series. But this one will be labeled communication and toxicity when it comes to relationships.